Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of data engineering. So in today's video we are going to explore an exciting real-time data engineering project where we will turn live COVID-19 data into a real-time dashboard and insights using Google Cloud. So I will walk you through building a complete data engineering pipeline from scratch using COVID-19 open APIs, Python and GCP. So in that you will learn how to collect live COVID-19 data from free API and how it store it securely in Google Cloud storage. Then we'll how to process and clean the data using Python, and then we'll automate the pipeline end to end. And finally, we'll load everything into BigQuery for querying and visualization. So in that, we have broken down this project into 5 key steps. Those are, the first one is data collection. So in that, you will use a free open source API to fetch live COVID-19 data. Then second stage, that is data storage. So in that we will store the raw data securely in Google Cloud storage. Then third one, data processing. Using the Python, we'll clean and transform the data into structured format like JSON or CSV. Then data pipeline setup. In that we'll automate the entire process using Python scripts. And then finally loading into a BigQuery. In that we will load the processed data into BigQuery for analysis and visualization. Tools that we are using, those are Python for scripting and automation, Google Cloud Storage for storing the raw data, and BigQuery for querying and analyzing the data. So if you are excited to build this project with me, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now let's dive right in and begin with step number 1, that is data collection using the COVID-19 APIs. So let's get started. So before we jump into the step number 1, that is data collection, there are a couple of tools that we need to install in our local system. So if you haven't set them up, don't worry, I'll show you how to download those. So let's first install the Python, which we will use for scripting throughout the project. So let's go to the official documentation of Python. Let's go to the official documentation of Python. I have already opened. This is the official page for the Python where you can download this Python. Let's click on this download Python button, so it will start the downloading and it will download the exe file. And then once the exe file is downloaded, then you can start the installation or follow the installation steps to install the Python. Once the Python is installed, then let's cross-validate those installed Python version in your VS Code or in command prompt. So let's go back, and here you can just print Python hyphen version accordingly, and let's click on enter. It will return the installed Python version on your system. So in my system, that is currently Python 3.13. So now let's clear the terminal one more time and now head over to the Google Cloud Console. So in that, what we'll do, we'll create a new project from scratch. After the project creation, we need to enable a couple of services, for example the Google Cloud Storage APIs and BigQuery APIs. So we will use these services throughout the project. So now let's go to the GCP portal and create a project from scratch. So this is the landing page or the dashboard of the Google Cloud portal. So in that, if you haven't created any project or you haven't used any Google Cloud service previously, you can check out my previous video. I have already covered. I have created these how to deploy the React app on GCP. I have created that, so you can check out my previous video. But currently we have to create the new project. So if you can see the project that is previously created. So I have previously created this data engineering learning project. So now let's click on this new project button and let's start creating a new project. I'm using the account for the GCP for the trial purpose. So we'll give the name that it's TA underscore data engineering demo, or let's do project. Let's click on the create, and you will see the project is getting created. See the project is created. You can now you can see the newly created project will be listed in this section. If you see this TA data engineering demo project is created, so now let's point or we'll select this newly created project, and now we are in this newly created project. So in that we have to enable a couple of APIs. That is, as I said, BigQuery API and storage API. So go to this API and services and this library. You can here you can search the APIs. So here you can search cloud storage API. Let's click on the hit. You can see this cloud storage, and it's already enabled. So in your case, if you are not, it is not it in your case, if it is not enabled, you can click on the enable, and then it will be start enabling it. And then let's use the next one, that is BigQuery API. And you can enable by clicking this enable button. It's already enabled in my this project, so I don't need to enable it one more time. But in your case, if it is not enabled, you can click on this enable. And so once all the APIs is enabled, then we have to create the service account. So let's again go to this side menu, and in that scroll down a bit, you will see this I am admin, and in that you will see this service account option. So let's go to the service account and create the service account, and in that let's give the service account name. So I'll give the name, that is TA underscore data engineering project, and then let's click or hit on this create and continue, and set the role. So we'll set the basic role, that is owner, and then let's again click on continue, and let's click on the done. So once this service account is created, generate the key. And then how to generate the key, then let's click on this create a service account, and here and if you see there are a couple of tabs that is present in this section. So you can go to this key. So in this key tab, if key is not created, then you can click on this add key, and in that let's click on this create new key and select the radio, that is JSON, and let's click on this create. It will creating or generating the key in the JSON format, and you have to download this created key and store it in your project. So in our case, I'll go to this downloaded section. I will download this, and I will download it in our current project. Paste it over here. So now we have successfully set up all the required tools. We have installed the Python for scripting. We have created a GCP project. Then we have created the service account that will allow our Python script to interact with both cloud storage and BigQuery, so we can securely store and load our processed data. All that setup, let's now switch over to the VS Code, where we'll start understanding the Python script. In this step, we'll fetch the live COVID-19 data for India country using free open source API. This will be our first step, that is data collection. So without any delay, let's get started. So I have created this data collection folder inside this demo project, and in that as I said, I have already copied this string or the key that we have just generated from the service account. So the key is present over here, and then I have created one Python script to fetch or to collect the data from the open source API, that is to fetch the COVID-19 data for country India. So in that, what we'll do, we will just making the API call for this open source, and then we'll once we get the response, then that response will be stored in the new file. So and then we'll get the and then we'll open this file, and then we'll process that file, and then before processing we'll store the generated file to the storage bucket. So now let's quickly go inside this data collection folder. So let's do cd data collection. So that collection, and then let's enter Python space collect covid data.py, and then let's run this script page or to collect the data to follow our first step for the data collection. So let's click on the enter, and you will see this response. The COVID-19 data is saved in the raw data as raw data, and you will see, if you see, the raw data folder is getting created, and inside this raw data this JSON file is getting generated, and in that the COVID-19 data is present. If you see. So in that case, you can use any open source API, for example, to fetch the weather data or some crypto related data for the demo purpose or for the understanding purpose. But currently, we thought, let's use this COVID-19 data for the country, and then let's use that JSON. So now our first step is done for data collection. Now we have to move to the next step, that is data storage. In that, what we'll do, we'll create a storage bucket inside the Google portal again, and then we'll map or we'll store this raw data inside our storage bucket. So let's again move to this GCP portal where we have to create this storage bucket. So let's go to this Google portal, and let's click on the cloud storage option, and in that let's select this buckets option. So currently we have not created any bucket, we have under the same project. So now let's click on the create button, and let's start for creating the bucket storage bucket. So now I'll give the name, that is TA underscore COVID-19 data, and then let's click on the continue. Then let's select the region. So we are doing this for only for demo purpose, so we'll keep the default setting as is, but in your case you can change the settings. So I'll use the multi-region and US, and I'll use most of the settings as default one or as a standard. And let's click on the continue, control access is uniform, and let's use soft deletion policy. Once we done with our demo, then if you want to delete these created buckets, so you can easily delete the buckets. And then let's click on or hit on the create button. We'll start the bucket creation. Before that, we'll ask the public access will be prevented. So let's click on this confirm, and let's start the process for creating the bucket. And if you see this TA underscore COVID underscore data bucket is getting created. Currently we have not mapped anything, so now again let's move to our next step, that is data storage. Again, go back to the VS Code where I have prepared one script to store this collected data inside the storage bucket. So let's go back to the VS Code. So in that, I have created one home folder that is for data storage, which is our next step, and in that I have created one script, and I have given the name for that script, that is upload to GCP. And in that, what we have to set the variables. As you know, we have already copied this key inside our data collection, so that is the key name. So we have to put the location for the key, which we will call this Google application credentials. So I have mapped this the key. So data collection under this TA demo, that is this our JSON key, and then the bucket name that we have to add for this GCP config. So if you remember, we have created or we have given the bucket name that is t underscore covid underscore data. You can cross validate going back to this GCP portal, and you can see this the name of the bucket that is t underscore covid underscore 19. So now I have created this, then the source file. So here what we have to add, so we have to add the path for the collected JSON file. So in the step first, we have collected the data for the COVID-19 for India country, in which is present inside this data collection, and you will see this TA data engineering where my bad, inside this raw data you will see this COVID data for the India which we present. This JSON file is present. So we have to map this the path for this source file and the destination top. So it will uploaded inside the raw data, this COVID data India inside this bucket. It will create this raw data folder, and inside this file will be. So now again let's start this uploading process. So now let's start to upload this collected data to the storage bucket. So now I'll do one more time cd dot and let's go inside this data storage. So let's take cd data. Let's click on enter. Now we are inside this data storage. Now let's do python space upload underscore gcp.py. So now let's start uploading this GCP. I have by mistakenly added this wrong path inside this. So now let's again clear the terminal, and that's one more this python to upload GCP. And if you see, the file is getting uploaded inside storage bucket. So again let's go back to this GCP portal and see if this raw data is getting uploaded inside the GCP portal or not. Go to the GCP portal, and if you let's refresh bucket, and you will see this raw raw data folder is getting created. And once you click on this raw data folder, you will see this COVID data in the .json file is getting generated. So if you see the type of the file, that is JSON, then size and created date, storage class, that's standard. You will see all the details inside this once you click on this file. So now we have done with our step number 2. So so far we have collected the data from the open source with the help of open source API, and then we have generated the raw data file, and then we move to the next step, that is data storage. In that we have created one bucket inside the GCP, and then we have uploaded this collected data inside the store. So now it's time to move for the next step, that is data processing. So let's get started for data processing. So now let's start with this our third step, that is data processing. In that we'll download this uploaded JSON file and we'll process the data, and then we'll create or we'll generate this processed CSV file inside our local project, and then we'll upload this the same thing inside the bucket. So now for that I have created one more folder, that is data processing. Inside this data processing I have created this process this data script, and in that again I have followed the same step for the GCP setup. For this credential I have mapped this JSON file where our credential is present, and the bucket name that we have created while creating this bucket, and then the blob path which is present inside this raw data, which is this is present inside the GCP portal, and local paths for the downloading that which is in the data collection raw data. You see the data collections raw data COVID data in the JSON file. So once the process is done, then it will generate the COVID underscore data underscore processed dot CSV file inside our process data or data processing. So now again let's go back and run the script to process the data. So now for that again I have to do the cd dot and let's go inside the data processing. So cd data, inside that let's do python process data dot python, and then let's click on enter. You will see the file is getting downloaded first, and then it is processed, and the processed data is saved to this location, and you will see inside the processed data, and the processed data is saved inside this processed data folder. So if you see, the processed data folder is getting created, and inside this COVID data process this file is getting created. So you can see that. So now our third step is also done to process the data. So far we have collected the data from the open source API, then we store that data inside the bucket, and then finally we process that data. We have done with our third step. Now let's move to the most important step, that is data pipeline creation. So in this step, we will automate the entire data pipeline and will upload our Python script to the Google Cloud, and this script will be handle the fetching, processing and uploading the data automatically. Once the pipeline is set up and triggered, we will see processed data get uploaded directly on the cloud storage or pushed to BigQuery depending upon the configuration. So you can run these pipelines manually whenever needed, or you can schedule it automatically. You can or you can schedule this automatically using the tools cloud scheduler or cloud functions. So let's start with the step number 4. So for that, again I have created one more data pipeline folder. In that I have created one script, that is run underscore pipeline py, and inside that I have set up this uh, GCP environment variables, that the credentials or keys that is getting generated from the service account. Then in that we have automatically process these sub processes. It will be automatically runs. So once first it will run the data, it will collect the data, the script. Then once the data is collected, then it will store or upload the data inside this GCP bucket, and then again once the data is uploaded, then it will be process the data and generate the CSV file, updated CSV file. So this is the pipeline script. So now let's again go back and run this. So cd dot dot. Let's clear the terminal and then cd data pipeline, and then do Python space run py. Let's click on enter. So if you see, the step number 1 is started, and if you see, this first step is started, and inside that the COVID-19 data is getting collected, and this step 2 is started, and in that the collected data is getting uploaded inside the cloud storage, and then finally data is getting processed and uploaded inside the bucket. So now you can cross validate this processed CSV file is getting uploaded inside this bucket or not, and then that latest raw data is getting created. So again, go to this GCP portal. Let's click on this bucket, and you will see this processed data folder is getting created, and the CSV file is uploaded. This COVID underscore data underscore process.csv file is uploaded inside this processed data. Now we have done with our fourth step, that is data pipeline creation. So we have successfully created the pipeline, and in that it will automatically fetch the raw data and upload it inside the storage bucket, and then it will process the data and created this processed data inside it. Now we have to move to our final stage, that is to map this with this data query or BigQuery. So let's get started. Alright, now let's move on the final step, which is mapping the processed data into the BigQuery. For that we have to again go to this BigQuery and create the new data sets and upload the processed CSV file that we have already created and present this processed data. You can see on this. And then finally run the few queries and filter the data and analyze the data. So now let's quickly jump to this creation of data sets. So for that, again, let's go to the side menu and go to this BigQuery. Let's click on BigQuery, and you will see this new portal or new window is getting open. So in that, we have to create the data sets. So for that, if you see this data engineering demo project is automatically mapped to this BigQuery. For that, we have to click on this vertical three dots, and in that there is an option to create datasets. So let's click on the dataset here. So here we have to add the dataset name, and here we'll add COVID data, COVID data engineering, and in that, so as I said, we are doing this for demo purpose, so we'll mostly keep the default setting as is, multi-region, and then let's click on create dataset. So it will start creating the datasets. So now dataset is getting created. The dataset is getting created. So now again, let's go to the VS Code and load the query to this dataset. So for that, again, so in that again, I have created this data loading folder inside this load to BigQuery script I have prepared. So in that again, I have set the credentials to Google application credentials. In that I have added this project ID. So you can copy this project ID from here. Let's click on the selected project, and this is the project ID for. So you can copy and paste it over here. Then the dataset ID. So in that you can see up after the dot, this is the dataset ID and table ID. That is, we have added this underscore COVID underscore data, and then this GCP file path along with this. This is the bucket name, and then inside this bucket name there is one folder processed data, and in that processed data inside this project, inside this folder, this COVID underscore data underscore processed dot CSV file is present. So now let's run this to load inside this BigQuery, and if you see loading data into BigQuery, and if you see load it inside this data set that we have created. So now this data is loaded inside BigQuery. So now let's quickly go to this GCP portal, and inside this data set, if you can see, if you can expand this data set, you'll see this COVID underscore data is created. You can see the field name, types, and things. Let's do some plain query to data. Let's run this. You can see this country India, the cases related information is printed, or data is loaded. Data. So in this way you can upload the data inside the BigQuery. So in this way you can upload your processed data into BigQuery and use it for the various data analysis tasks. In future you can take this one step further by connecting BigQuery to Looker Studio. This will allow you to visualize your data, create the dashboards, and generate automated reports. By mapping your BigQuery datasets to Looker Studio, you can build powerful data insights and share them with an audience. And that's it. This is the complete end-to-end data engineering project, from collection to store, processing, automate, and analyze using Google Cloud Platform. And that's all about the complete data engineering project. So now you know how to create your own end-to-end data pipelines and understand the core steps and concepts of data engineering in action. So let's do a quick recap what we have covered in this video so far. So in that we started with the understanding of what is data engineering. In that we understand what data engineering is and how we break down the projects into a clear actionable steps. Then we understand the tools for these steps, where we install the Pythons and set up a project inside the Google Cloud Platform, enable the required APIs, and created a service account for secure access. Then we move to this step number 1, that is data collection. In that we are using a free open source COVID-19 summary API. Then we have collected those real-time data and store it in our local system. Then we move to the next step, that is data storage. Then in that we have created cloud storage bucket on GCP and store raw data securely in it. Then we move the data processing, where we clean and structure the raw data using Python and convert it into a process.csv file. and ready, and then processed data is ready for analysis. Then we move to the data pipeline creation step, where we automated the data collection and processing the steps using Python script, which we uploaded and configured to run manually or automatically in the cloud. And then finally, we created a data sets and table in BigQuery and uploaded the processed data and ran simple query to analyze it. And we also discussed how to connect BigQuery to the local studio for advanced data visualization and reporting. So that's all how you can build your own data engineering project from scratch and get a hands-on understanding of key features and workflows involved in real-world data engineering. So if you found this video very helpful, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to support the channel, and make sure to hit the bell icon and you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and as I always say, keep coding and have a great day.